Hello, this is Andy from Adex Original Aircraft Hydraulics. We manufacture the best dump in the world, guaranteed. We're going to show you how to rebuild an Adex dump. It's simple, it's easy, using our components. First off, we start by cutting the lock wires. Remove the filters, starting with the top one. Save the 4 filters as you will be reusing them. After removing the solenoid, we want to drive the groove pin out of the plunger. Pull the plunger off. Set it aside, you'll be reusing that. Remove the slotted retainer by pushing down on the shaft, then pushing it back up. Remove the endcap filters. Then we take the endcap off, rotate it slightly so that the corners hang over the valve body. Pick it up actually with your fingers, pulling it off. Then we remove the shaft from the end cap. Take the retainer off, remove the O-ring, throw that away, move the large O-ring. Next we want to remove the spool. Do so by inserting a brass shaft 3/16 in the shaft hole. Carefully push on the spool till it comes out. Then we want to remove the sleeve. You can take the sleeve out by putting your brass, only use brass. Place it against one of the inside lands. Rest the end of the shaft on a hard surface and you can push the sleeve out. If the sleeve hangs up, typically what happens, the Teflon split ring hangs up, so we need to remove that. Use the hemostats, pull it out. Take off the O-rings, Teflon ring. You want to put the spool and sleeve in clean solvent. Then take out the spring. Remove your stainless spacer and aluminum retainer. Clean your valve body in solvent. Clean all your parts. Remember, this is very important. Do not scratch any of the surfaces on the spool. This is a metal seal. Dip the spool in some oil, light oil. You can use whatever oil you're using in your system. Carefully insert the spool in the sleeve again. It's a very tight fit. Be careful not to scratch any of the components. Make sure the spool moves freely in the sleeve. With all the components cleaned, we can start reassembling your Adex dump. Use only an Adex rebuild kit. And the components are that you want to replace all the O-rings, Teflon rings. You want to replace a spring, 4 new filters for the end cap, and the groove pin to retain the plunger. I use a Parker O-ring lube. I find that works best for me. You can use Vaseline. Coat the O-rings liberally. I put the bottom O-ring on from the bottom, the middle O-ring, the third line, through the top. Of the Teflon rings, very important. First one goes on the bottom of the O-ring. The second one goes on the top. Third Teflon goes on the top. Coat the top with the assembly lube. Aluminum retainer, stainless retainer, Teflon ring, O-ring, O-ring, Teflon ring, O-ring, Teflon ring, aluminum spacer, or retainer actually, and stainless spacer. We place the new spring on top of the spool and sleeve assembly. O-ring lube. Coat the inside of the valve body. Place the valve body carefully on top of the assembly. Very important, you don't want the spacer or the spring to shift. Press down. If the valve body doesn't seat fully, carefully turn it upside down. Typically what happens, Teflon ring spreads. Using your brass tool, carefully Push it back into position. Press down on the spool and sleeve. It's in. Using both thumbs, seat it fully. The last O-ring on the end cap, little O-ring. Inside, retainer, top. Put some O-ring lube on the shaft. Insert the shaft hole in first, end cap over the shaft onto the body. Make sure by pressing down it's fully seated. If you're not going to lock wire the filisters, use some Loctite on the threads so that they don't work themselves loose. Tighten filisters in the proper sequence. Make sure they're real tight. After the unit's assembled up to this point, again, push on the shaft, make sure everything works freely. A little O-ring, slotted retainer goes on top of the shaft. Press down, seat the O-ring. Always use a new groove pin to retain the plunger. Start the groove pin in the plunger, line it up with a hole in the shaft. You can use a large pair of pliers. Press it in. We're ready to install the solenoid. Make sure the bottom surface of the solenoid is clean. The top surface of the valve body is clean, so they sit flush. Reuse the 4 3/8 filisters. You don't need to replace those with new ones. They're not exposed to any pressure. Tighten in the proper sequence again. And your Adex dump is as good as new. Again, the best dump in the world. Guaranteed.